In a major move, the Trump administration has imposed sanctions on 4 international criminal court judges over cases involving the United States and Israel. The State Department order named Solomy Balungi Bossa of Uganda, Luz del Carmen Ibanez Carranza of Peru, Reine Alapini Gansou of Benin, and Beti Hohler of Slovenia. The judges are barred from entering the U.S. and will have any American assets frozen under sweeping new restrictions. As per the order, the sanctions defend American and Israeli sovereignty from what they call illegitimate ICC actions. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in a statement, said that the U.S. will act to protect its allies and sovereignty from ICC overreach. He called on ICC supporting nations to reject what he described as disgraceful attacks on the U.S. and Israel. The sanctioned judges were involved in proceedings related to alleged war crimes by U.S. forces and Israeli officials. 2 judges, Beti Hohler and Reine Alapini Gansou, were part of the court's Gaza investigation targeting Israeli leaders. That probe led to arrest warrants against Netanyahu and his former defense chief, Yoav Gallant, for alleged war crimes in Gaza. ICC prosecutor Karim Khan cited starvation tactics as a method of war after Israel's military response to Hamas's October 7th attack. Israel has strongly denied the charges and called the investigation biased and politically motivated. Judge Gansou also approved the court's 2021 war crimes probe into the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem. Judge Hohler, formerly in the prosecutor's office, said she was never involved in the Israel investigation. 2 other judges, Luz Ibanez Carranza and Solomy Balungi Bossa, worked on cases probing U.S. actions in Afghanistan. The ICC condemned the sanctions, calling the move a violation of international law and a threat to judicial independence. Meanwhile, the European Union backed the ICC and said it would push to prevent the U.S. sanctions from being enforced within Europe.
On the sanctions imposed yesterday by the U.S. administration towards some ICC officials, I was wondering what is the Commission's reaction on this, and also could the Commission in any way try to block the effects of those sanctions by example given using the so-called blocking statute? Thank you.
With it, and then Anita will follow, drawing your attention to a social media post this morning by President von der Leyen on precisely the subject of sanction in relation to the ICC, where the President said that the Commission fully supports the International Criminal Court and its officials, that this court holds perpetrators of the world's gravest crimes to account and gives victims a voice. It must be free to act without pressure. We will always stand for global justice and the respect of international law.
Paola, and in the same vein, also the High Representative just tweeted, so I'll also point you out to her tweet on ICC upholding justice in the face of the most serious crimes and the importance of preserving the integrity of ICC and its vital work and protect its independence. Now, on ICC we have a clear position. It is the cornerstone of the international justice and the fight against impunity. We deeply regret the decision to impose sanctions on 4 additional individuals, and we will provide also the full support and contribution to ensure the protection of the court and its staff. We also fully support the ICC and the principles set out in the Rome Statute, and we remain committed to work together with all state partners and other partners around the world to support the court and to preserve and respect the court's independence and the integrity of the Rome Statute.
Yes, I would like to come back on what you just said. You just mentioned, Anita, on the full support you want to provide towards those officials and the ICC, of the ICC. What does it concretely include this full support? What does it concretely mean? Thank you.
So, first of all, we will monitor the implications of the executive order, and then we will assess any possible further steps.
What happened in Ukraine overnight? So, as you might heard, there was a massive shelling of almost all the Ukrainian regions. So, my question is regarding 18th package on sanctions, which is underway from the European Union side. Do you have any deadline when it comes to that? Because, as far as I understand, for example, the lowering oil price cap will be the subject for G7 summit. You just announced it. So, yeah, do you have any deadline, and is it possible that you would speed up with the response to Putin, who apparently responded to the Ukrainian recent attack? Thank you.
We are preparing the 18th package of sanctions against Russia, as you very correctly pointed out. We don't have an exact timing. Of course, we are all interested in having a package which is widely supported by the member states. And the idea is really that everybody stands behind. So this takes the time to prepare and to make sure that at the end of the day we have a solid set of measures that can be supported by all member states.
According to a report by Reuters yesterday, Ukrainian authorities have criticized this decision by the EU to use the frozen asset to compensate EU companies because some properties were taken by the Russians. I know that this was a decision taken by unanimity by member states, but the proposal came from the European Commission. I'm wondering why you proposed this type of legal framework. And secondly, since the official position until now on frozen assets is that you cannot confiscate them because of financial stabilities, legal problems, and so on. Why you cannot use? You can use that for European companies, but not for Ukraine.
Yes, do we have more information on that? Yes, David, I've also seen those reports. So it's basically the use of the frozen assets to compensate the investors and the question on whether everything should be reserved rather to compensate Ukraine and help Ukraine. Now, I think it's also worth looking into the fact that in terms of the sanctions, what we are using to support Ukraine is the revenues of the assets and not the frozen assets itself.